began just as an accident, I think, really, because I was just, driving home one day and I encountered these two workers in a rainstorm, and I picked them up and gave them shelter, and, it turned out one of them, was in a suicide attempt a few months later, and then I was called to post bail for him, and then I appealed on his behalf for his case to be dropped because I felt he was more a victim than a criminal. He had not been paid his wages, etc. So that appeal process, it was just an informal appeal, just through emails, but that worked, and the worker was, paid all his back wages, and this story went viral and was picked up by the media, and that led to the Singapore Kindness Movement approaching me, and that's how IRR began. So IRR is unique in a few respects. I think, the first one is we have zero overhead, so we don't have any paid staff, we don't have any space for ourselves. So we run, a very lean operation, but a mean one, in the sense that we accomplish a lot. And one of the things we do is sort of build bridges between Singapore residents and our migrant workers using very imaginative, nimble strategies that is accessible for everyone to participate in. So we've been fortunate enough to receive the President's Award for Volunteerism and Philanthropy twice, and we've received various other recognitions and media coverage along the way. Now this is of great importance to us, not just for the sake of not just for bragging rights, which we don't use that much, but because it brings a great deal of credibility to the cause. It brings a great deal of credibility to us, and the more people know about us, the wider our circle of outreach is, and we can then attract sort of other stakeholders who may not have heard about us before. So therefore, my view is any publicity is good publicity, any recognition is good recognition, because it just helps us further our cause that much more. Our mission statement is really very simple. It's to build bridges of engagement between Singapore residents and our migrant workers, with a view to ultimately helping improve the lives of our migrant workers. Well, our vision of the future is a world where, a Singapore world where migrant workers are, seamlessly integrated. They're part of our community, much as, you and I, and, their well-being is assured. This, for a group of men who build our homes, who build our offices, who tar the roads we drive on, who prune our trees, is not a very big ask. And, towards that end, we hope to keep growing. So for IRR, our only real vision is growth. The Raincoat Symbol basically came from my first few encounters with the migrant workers, because it all involved helping them in the rain. And when the Singapore Kindness Movement approached me to start something, it was really just to start for an event to help create an opportunity for Singaporeans to react very easily with migrant workers, to interact rather. And the idea I had was for people to just carry raincoats in their bags and give it to migrant workers if they saw them working in the rain. And so that's how the name ItsRainingRaincoats came to be. And therefore, we just felt it was important to have that symbol of a raincoat, which now we think is sort of, it's a symbolic shield against, the forces of difficulty and any challenges that they may encounter. I think we've, made it more mainstream for volunteers, donors, supporters, companies, to come forward to help migrant workers. We've made it more accessible. We've created, very imaginative ways in which people can interact, so that, one doesn't need to feel like they have to, be in a particular place or do a particular thing in order to help migrant workers. It can be sort of built into your everyday. So providing these very nimble, imaginative, unique modes of creating bonds between our residents and our migrant workers is, I think, what we've accomplished, among many other things. So we've won the President's Award for Volunteerism and Philanthropy twice. The first time we won it, it was both times were very memorable, but the first time was really special because it was a huge badge of credibility for us, and we were very honored to receive it. We've received, various other awards along the way, and also had a lot of media coverage and recognition, and we take all of that, as very humbly as as a blessing, because really every time there is a recognition or some coverage in the media, it just helps us to expand our outreach. More people get to know about us, and therefore more people can come, within our our little circle of compassion to enable it to grow. And this is all very important because we have zero overheads. We have no funding for ourselves. None of our volunteers are paid. None of our expenses are reimbursed. We have no physical space. We don't have like a comms budget or any budget really. So therefore, outreach is everything to us. Well, these are men who leave their families behind and come to Singapore alone to build the homes we live in, to build the offices we work in, to tar the roads we drive on, to prune our 30-feet trees, to dig our underground tunnels, to clean the city. So, and they do all that for, low wages, sometimes as low as $18 a day, and they don't eat great quality food, or they don't have a wide variety of food. They live in fairly crowded conditions, and they're transported in lorries without seat belts. So given how much they contribute to our lives, giving back a little compassion is the least we can do. Well, everybody can play a part, and they just need to message our Facebook page. We have a whole lot of ideas and initiatives and opportunities for individuals, for students, for companies, for church groups, for temples, for really whatever be your background or your capacity, your age. We have something for you, and we don't expect volunteers to volunteer every single week. We're very flexible in how we incorporate our supporters, so all you have to do is just reach out to us through our Facebook page or our social media pages. Well, I don't even have time to sort of sit back and formally prioritize things. It's just whatever is the most urgent in that moment gets addressed. It can be a bit of a challenge at times, especially when everything is happening at once. But I think over the years I've grown to make it a little more rhythmic. During my work day, that's kind of my priority, and then either before work or after work or during lunch, I try and attend to IRR messages. My family usually gets the short drift, and they probably get the least amount of my time. But I'm I guess my kids are grown up now, so they need less of me. They're probably thankful that they see less of me. I don't know, but it all kinds of works until it doesn't work. There are those days as well when everything seems to sort of go wrong, but I just learned to sort of take it in my stride. But I will say that my work with It's Raining Raincoats greatly energizes me, that I think actually I get a lot more out of it than I put into it. Well, I'm sure I've faced numerous challenges along the way. Resource constraints, not just being able to sort of have somebody as even a personal assistant for myself in doing all this. Sometimes frustration in not being able to help a worker as much as we'd like to, or not being able to reach someone in time. So there are all kinds of challenges that not just myself, but I think my other volunteers face as well. Just coping, right? Mental headspace when you hear of a worker who's died. The emotional toll it takes on you, and the internalizing of it, and then having to just carry on with your day-to-day life. That in itself is a challenge. and we hear sort of bad news from workers all the time. So it's very hard to take it in, internalize it, cope with it, and then just carry on with the rest of the facets of your daily life. So all these are challenges, but I think, at the end, it's all balanced out, because, at the end of a tough day like that, you might get a message from a migrant worker just, wishing you a good evening, or the next day wishing you a good morning, or, or some worker saying, thank you so much, you've made such an incredible difference, and may God's blessings rain on you for the rest of your life, that kind of thing. That's what makes it all worthwhile, and that's what balances out the challenges that we face. Oh, there have been so many, and I think that's one of my blessings, I still remember, meeting Murugan, who was the worker I met in that rainstorm, as if it was yesterday, and, all the other interactions I've had with many migrant workers, the interactions with our volunteers, the first time we did the Christmas distribution for migrant workers, when we took workers on the flyer, and, when the universe somehow conspires with us, all those little miracles that have happened along the way. It'll be a day when we, worker asks for something unique like a carom board, and we're just wondering, now where do we go to get that? And suddenly on that very same day, someone will contact us offering us a carom board. I mean, this I'm not making up, it's actually happened. So there have been numerous such cases of these little miracles happening, and I remember a lot of them, and they make for very, very special memories. Every award we've won, every time one of our volunteers just rises above and beyond expectations, all of these are they make for so many special memories. So I look forward to many more happening in the years to come.